Hello and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. I'm Cat Trans Gamer, and this is the Moon Base Part 4. I know it was only supposed to be a 3-part series, but Part 3 was such a big video. So I've decided to move the Mun landing and Minmus landing, and also the intercepts for the advanced probes into Part 4. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll hop into the tracking station and we'll come over here to the moon base. As you can see, we've already got our advanced probes heading out. Minmus advanced there, Mun advanced there, and we'll go ahead and select our moon base and fly it, and we will get this thing rolling. And we're going to go out to Mun. All we got to do is align ourselves up. Bring Mun to about 90 degrees away from Kerbin. Set target. And then go to the bottom part of the orb, or your orbit, lowest point in your orbit, and add a maneuver. So what I'm doing right here is I'm slowly playing around with the maneuver nodes. At first I stretch it out really fast, and once I get it out pretty close I start slowing it down and then fine-tuning it until I get that nice little intercept that we all want to see. So there we go. What I did there is I grabbed the center of the maneuver node and actually moved it around the orbit. So if you come to the center and get that little bit of highlight there and then hit X on it, you'll be able to hold X down on it. It'll turn white and it gives you the ability to actually slide the maneuver node around the orbit. So that's a Mun intercept, and I'll fix the rest of the, getting it close once I'm heading out that way. So let's go ahead and start our wonderful journey of lining this craft up. And remember, you want to control from the computer on the rocket. So right here. And it's not letting me. Alright, I'll be right back. I'm done a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and restart the game real quick, save it and reset and whatnot, so I will be right back. And identifying stuff like clicking constantly and stuff like that, that's usually a sign that your game's starting to freeze up, so try to save it if you can. As you can see, I was able to restart the game and eventually was able to click on that guidance unit and then select control from here. So now it's time to go back to, well, the old me. One thing to think about when you're moving craft like this that are connected with clampetrons like mine is, you want to throttle up slowly and only go as fast as the craft will let you. But it is better to drag clampetrons than it is to push them, because pushing them you'll kind of get a wet noodle effect, where when you're pulling clampetrons like this, like I'll be pulling on these, it's not as bad. What is going on here? Come on. Get over to that maneuver node. Okay, so what I did here is I slowly applied a little bit of thrust to get it back to that maneuver node, because I started noticing that I was starting late, and at least starting the burn late. And then once I got it over to the maneuver node, I slowly started applying a little bit more thrust at a time, until I was satisfied with the thrust, basically. A little bit more thrust. And if you look at these clampetrons, see that? They're actually separating. The only thing holding them together now is that magnetic pull they have. So that's about as far as I want to thrust. Any more and I take a chance of tearing the craft apart. So this short, 30-second burns turned into quite a couple of minutes worth of burning. So I'm gonna have to kill that. And then what we're gonna have to do is set up the maneuver node a second time. So what you do here is you, again, put the mun at about 90 degrees and then set the maneuver node up just behind your craft, but at the bottom of Kerbin. So just like we did before, but this time remember your craft needs to be behind the maneuver node. Or I mean in front of the maneuver node. So it's got to go around a whole time before it comes back to you. And then once you get the maneuver node set where you want it, you then got to get your craft over to the pointing to the maneuver node, which luckily, because we're setting it up right after a maneuver and we're doing basically the same exact maneuver, it's all you got to do is a little bit of movement to get there. So what I did is I started setting myself up for trying to time warp as soon as I was on top of the maneuver node. So this is what I'm doing right now, is just waiting for it to get back over on top of the maneuver node. Then I'm going to time warp so it pauses it right there on the maneuver node. Once I'm around Kerbin, then it's just a quick burn. Well, not that quick. Again, slowly applying thrust a little bit at a time until you get the thrust you want. Depending on the craft you build, depends on how much thrust you want to give. And once you're satisfied with the amount of thrust you're giving it, hop on over to the map view and watch the orbit come out, which I do eventually. I really do love looking at my rockets, don't I? Alright, so back over to the map view, and you can see the orbit slowly extends out. Slowly, and then eventually, once we get that Mun intercept, or once we get close to the Mun intercept, we start lowering our thrust down. And then we get our intercept. I was able to get this up to a third throttle. But the problem is these fuel tanks over here. I've got these fuel tanks on either end, and they weigh, like, I think alone is like 25 tons. And right here where the two clampetrons were at, they were actually separating. And I was afraid if I went any faster, I might actually see if clampetrons can separate apart. One theory I've never actually tested. See if we can pull clampetrons apart with just thrust. But you have to make sure that you're controlling this thing from, the guidance unit on the rockets, not the cupola module, because the cupola module's upside down. And you have to turn off any of the outside torques that you might have put on here, because you want all your torque coming up and down the center stage. So I've got a reaction wheel right here, cupola module, then I've got this little command pod right there. That was all the torque that was controlling this craft. That's why it takes forever to turn around. So I'm going to have to plan the maneuver node to get me into lunar orbit, or Mun orbit, fairly early and in advance. But let me get back over to the map view. As you can see, I was able to get this thing into an orbit that has it heading for Mun with a periapse of, well, somewhere in the 14 to 16 kilometer range above Mun, which is perfectly fine. I actually prefer to try to get somewhere around 20 kilometers to 30 kilometers. This I might actually try for a 30 kilometer, just so I have a lot of time to drop onto the surface. So I've got plenty of time to pick my landing site, plenty of time to slow my lateral motion down so I'm going straight vertical, and plenty of time to figure out at what speed do I need to operate the thrusts to land this craft vertically. So yeah, that's going to be a fun landing we're going to do there. But let's go ahead and head over to our advanced satellite right here, our Mun Advance. Because if you remember from earlier, we have a little bit more maneuvering to figure out on this thing. So let's switch over to Mun. Because right now it's going right through the center, and we don't want that. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to figure out at what point. Now, when you look at this, the circle is escape. The one without a mark on it, that's your entry point. So I'm going to come in this way. So we got to figure out how to get us into a lunar orbit without running into the planet. So let's add a maneuver. And first thing we got to do is we've got to adjust the orbit that way. So now we've got a periapse. And then we've just got to shrink it. And then slowly back and forth. What's our apoapse here? Okay. I don't want an apoapse with that. See, so all I could do is grab it and slide it along to adjust our apoapse, and that'll work. Now we go back to this, and we start adjusting these. What we're doing is we're using the radial, which are the blues, and our prograde and retrograde to try and get this thing. Come on. Into a polar orbit. There we are. Periapse is back. So we bring our periapse all the way over here, and then we might be able to retrograde our apoapse down. And it's just working it back and forth, trying to find the right point that will get us right about like that. I mean, look at that. And we're in a pretty close to a polar orbit right there. Actually, I could probably get into a better polar orbit if I just adjust this a little bit. There we are. So we got 54 periapse, 63 apoapse. And we're almost in a perfect polar orbit going up and down. Our inclination is going to be a little bit off. So how bad's this maneuver? 679 meters per second to get us in that orbit. So let's go ahead, and this is going to be the first one, so let's warp to the next maneuver on this craft. I'm lining up the maneuver node because we're going to have to start burning almost as soon as we get there. So okay. And let me zoom out so you guys can see what happens here. And I'm going to actually close those out. And full throttle. You can see our satellite right here. Oops. Whoa. What is going on here? This is not good. I forgot to put... I know what happened there. I forgot to put the... Oh. I forgot to put away the solar panel. So it's thrusting with all that weight out there. So there we are. Now we're in an orbit. Now we just got to get that orbit brought down and flipped around. See, now the orbit's starting to get pulled out of Mun. There it is. There's their periaps. Whoa. Now we need to burn prograde. Because our apoaps... Come on, find the prograde. See, our apoaps is at 44,000 or 44 kilometers, but we need to get our periaps up. So I'm going to go ahead and burn with our orbit, prograde orbit, and that should bring our apoaps and periaps up above that 25 kilometers, which is what we needed. And we're still in a pretty much polar orbit. Didn't quite turn out as good as I wanted it to, but we were able to rescue it. And let's see how much fuel we have left. Look at that. We still got 36 fuel there. So go ahead and rotate this thing so the solar panel gets as much light as possible. There we are. And then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to turn this on. Deploy scanner. Perform orbital survey. And it's going to transmit the data. And look at that. Now you can hit toggle overlay. Is it? No, that's right. You got. What you can do is you can change monochrome color, the color of the ores. But now we've got that done, we want to activate this scanner. And what that's going to do is it's going to slowly map the biomes. And we're just going to leave that on going. And there you are. This is what it's going to slowly look like. That's our initial scan telling us our ore. And where is our craft right now? Oh, it's down in the south poles, okay. And then as it scans closer and closer, we're going to get better detail. Okay, so what I did now is I got myself into a lunar orbit with the moon base, and then I started playing around with the maneuver nodes, and I got my periapse down to about 34,000 meters off the surface, and decided to do a capture burn. So my apoapse was still pretty high, but my periapse was where I wanted it. So by doing that, what I did is I set myself up so I can then add another maneuver to get my apoapse and periapse down to where I wanted it. So here all I'm doing right now is I'm trying to get, I'm setting up the craft into the right position. And remember, don't forget to reselect on your guidance unit, the computer or the probe body that you're guiding this craft from, and select control from here. Then I go ahead and warp to the maneuver node and start my burn up. And again, slowly applying thrust until we're ready. And then once we get the thrust going, slowly add it up and get this maneuver taken care of. Once we're in a captured orbit, then we can go ahead and set up our next maneuver, which we're going to set up right at periapse roughly. And we're going to set this maneuver to bring our apoapse down to about 34,000 meters, and our apoapse around 30,000 meters is what we're aiming for. So again, once you get the maneuver node set up, you then sit there and just line your craft up with the maneuver, which isn't going to be too much of an adjustment from where you're at. And you always want to make sure that your initial capture orbit is far enough away from the periapse so you got time to do this maneuver. And then once you, as you can see, I've already had to start burning because I didn't do that. Once you get your capture orbit done, once you get your secondary maneuver orbit done, you should have a pretty decent orbit to then go ahead and start picking out your landing site. And we'll call that good. We're a little bit lower on our periapse than we wanted, but I can work with that. Now we'll head over to the Space Center and take a look at the orbit we have, and also look for ore so we can turn that ore into fuel. Okay, so we've got our orbiter coming down. So as long as we try to avoid directly below that, we should have no problem down on this, on the bright side. And I think I'll probably try for somewhere in there. Yeah, that looks like a nice long flat area there. So now we know where we want to go. I think that's about, yeah, that's about right. I want to land in there somewhere. It looks to be somewhat flat. So we'll just add a maneuver node here, killing off all lateral motion. So we drop straight down. And how much speed is that we got to drop? 533 meters per second, roughly. 536 by the time we get there. So I went ahead and fast forwarded through this, and all I was doing was getting maneuvered in and started thrusting. So there was the camera flip. We are now in a suborbital flight, and we just lost 4 of our engines, so let's drop those off. They'll eventually crash into Mun. Now we can kick up our throttle a little more because now we've only got one motor going. So what we do is come back over here to our fuel tanks and watch for that gap in the clampetrons to become more prominent. Okay. There, kill everything. Switch to control here, because now we're about to drop the rocket, so we'll switch control to that. And make sure we're going to stage this one. Okay, yes. And activate all the descent. Ooh, that was loud. Activate all the descent motors. I want this to point to actually retrograde. That's where I want it pointed. Hopefully nothing hits. Oh, we hit. Look at that, we're pushing that rocket around. And we switch over to orbital speed, surface speed. Come on, get this thing under control. Let's do an engine check to make sure this build worked. Everything but the command module's burning fuel. I don't know why the command module's not burning fuel. Alright. Well, we now got to get our vertical speed down. SAS. I need to switch to this mode. I don't want to land in that small crater right down there. So I'm going to try to get over to that smooth area over there. Oh, interesting. My build actually has a flaw in it. And that's the flaw right there. Come on. I ain't got time for this. Alright. There we are. In. Come on. In. In. SAS. Come on. Point us at retrograde. I gotta just kill speed now and get this thing landed. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good. I'm gonna angle this a little bit and try to get off that hill. Come on. This is not good. I didn't kill enough speed off fast enough. I'm at full throttle. This is as fast as I'm killing speed, which is not good. Come on. We're gonna break some parts. How bad's this crash gonna be? Really bad. Look at all those parts go flying. That's our rover. What's left of it. Oh, what are we following here? That's part of the solar panel assembly. One of our clampetrons. So this is all we got left. Let's see how it looks. Whoa, 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 what happened here? Did we gain surface speed? What? No, we're still dropping. We need to hurry up and flip over here. Come on. So at 50 meters per second, it says we're going to get to the surface about 11 minutes, 52 seconds. But that's wrong because that's on the wrong side of the orbit. Come on. Why is my craft doing this? I'm like, got no control over this thing. And I don't want to be pointing down while thrusting. This thing's gonna crash. I can't burn off that much speed this short of time. It's acting like the... Did it lose power? No, it couldn't have lost power. Got all those batteries on there. Fudge. kill the engines. Oh, why did we blow up? Why did we blow up? What did we lose? Oh, we lost some motors. That's not good. Oh, wow. Looks like we did it. We're at a slant. We lost... Yeah, we lost a couple of motors over here. Or at least one. It's not pretty. But we are on Mun. Okay, so now we go custom action groups, 10. And extend out all the solar panels and our heat radiator. And that heat radiator is going to point its edge like that straight towards the sun, where the solar panels are going to point its face towards the sun. And that's how the radiators differ from the solar panels, is they work on a 90-degree difference. So there we've got power, we've got that. Let's go ahead and extend our ladders. No. Extend ladder. Got another ladder right here. Another ladder right here. Let's go ahead and open this up so we can get our rover out. We'll have to check to see how damaged that is. And we need to transfer him over to the hopper so we can get that put somewhere else. There we go. Transfer. Extend our gear. Let's activate the engines. So yeah, landing on Mun with this thing is a pain in the butt. Come on. There we go. Activate engine. And we'll go ahead and... No, I want to on dock. There we go. On dock. Come on. RCS, RCS. Oh, we hit this. Oh, no, no, no. Can't land on Mun without a problem, right? Come on. Default action, landing gear. There we are. Try to roll it up on its end. For some reason, this thing has like no fuel in it. I don't know why. Come on. Turn on SAS and fold in the landing gear. See if I can rock this back up on its... Come on. Trying to flip the whole thing over. Not easy. Alright. Let it settle down real quick. And then we will try this again. One more try on this. I still can't believe I took out 2 solar panels doing this. Okay. So, gear. Retract the gear. Okay, now bring it back down. And then extend the gear again. Nope, default action, gear. Using the landing gear to try to help bounce this thing up and over. Oh, there we go, there we go, there we go. Now we just gotta steady it out. Well, we got it landed. The only problem is we've got no fuel in it. So that's pretty much useless. EVA. Let go. Activate jetpack. There we go. Let's give the rover a try. See if the rover can be at least useful. Bravo! Nice crash. Hey. Frame rate's so low with this build. I might have to work on trying to figure out a smaller build for this thing. But after a couple of failed attempts at landing, 3 successful crashes, and thankful for autosave and reloading before the autosave kicked in, I was able to finally get this thing down. And I'll tell you what, landing on Mun with this big monstrosity, I wouldn't recommend not this build. This thing should be disconnected. Why isn't it not? Turn off SAS. What's going on inside here? It's like it's... the collision boxes are stuck. No, don't extend panels. So the batteries look like they were a bust. They put the brakes on. Trying to torque the craft out of place. But it seems like, yeah, see, it's disconnected over here. But it got hung up. Looks like on the antenna. Come on. Trying to use the antenna to help push it free. Oh, look it. There, got it. So deployment on this one was a little bit off. Turn off the brakes. Nope. Oh, Too late. Go forward, go forward, go forward. Keep going forward. Okay, there. Brakes on. Got the rover out. So, rover survived, which is a good thing. Let's get the rover clear of the base before I extend panels. Look at that. The rover's like doing a wheelie. There's so much thrust on that back wheel. So there, we've got a rover now. So it wasn't a complete bust landing on Mun. And let's switch back over to this main module. And let's see, if I remember correctly, I put the drill, the mining tools. So if I go, nope, custom actions, 9, no, there it is, 8. 8 extends the drills. I'll bring that up so you guys can see. And I'll just push the drill heads right on in. And then what you do is you come over here, and 7, if I remember correctly, starts the drills. Okay, that's how you know it's harvesting. It'll start slowly filling this up. And you want to watch your temp on these things. Thermal efficiency is 3%, 3.3%. You want to make sure it doesn't overheat. And look at that ore rate, 5.285 a second. That's why I put 2 of them on there. It's going to take forever to get ore with just 2 of them. But this radiator here should start cooling 11.72%. So it is cooling it off. So minus the fact that we lost 1 engine and 2 solar panels, we now have ore collection going. See, 0.01, which we can then come in here and turn into fuel, monopropellant, and everything. So if I go like this, it will take that ore out of here and turn it into fuel and start filling this up. But it's out. It took all the ore already. Where'd the other solar panel go? Did it get destroyed? Yeah, I think I got it completely destroyed. You can see the one solar panel right up here, upside down. Oh wait, is that the other solar panel? Did it make it all the way over there? Wow. Okay, so there we go. Not the best landing for Mun, but it's a landing, that's for sure. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next episode when I take this to Minmus and land on Minmus. Until then, I'm Cat Trans Gamer. Bye!